Yeah, y'all, what's going on? Chuck and Mike coming at you with another episode. Chuck, thanks for even joining in on the intro to this one. I did the intro last time without you.
I know.
But I needed to get you in on this one. Right? I can't. And especially because we were just talking about this before, we not only have for everybody watching our 28-day nutrition reset, that's going to be launching January 6th is when the course will be officially live and going. However, in the meantime, you guys might have noticed on social media or emails and all that good stuff, and we'll link everything below, that you can kind of pre-register so you get a better rate and you get some bonus features as well. And we'll talk about this. If you have any questions, we're going to do some webinars to discuss those things and to give you guys some more bonus features. So you can also check out that information below, as well as Chuck's been masterminding this 8 weeks to shred program that, again, as you can see, Chuck's been crushing it. Right, Chuck?
I'm sweaty I'm developing week 7 and 8 right now. So today's program was intense. It was fun. But 8 weeks to shred. We've developed weeks 1 through 4. Mike has tested those out. You're currently in weeks 5 and 6 right now, Mike?
Exactly. Yeah. And not fun. None of it's fun. All of it's fun.
Yeah. And I'm developing weeks 7 and 8 right now. So 8 weeks to shred program. It's been enjoyable.
Yeah. So if you guys want to keep just us, or do you want us to keep you posted with the news on that as it's coming out? Again, we'll put another newsletter list that you guys can sign up for, drop your email, and we'll keep you posted. We'll even give you some sneak previews coming along, as well as I highly recommend making sure you take advantage of the 28-day nutritional reset with all the components we're adding to that. With all that being said, though, let's jump into, we have part 2 of our 3-part series with home training, with everything going on, especially with the pandemic and things are changing. We wanted to create another resource, and this is the last little downloadable cue I'll give you guys. We're going to have, if you want to put in your email, again, we'll have a link. You can get a downloadable version that'll be basically a spreadsheet and more resources. I took some notes. Chuck has some notes we're going to discuss on this podcast, but to give you even more resources with the full list out of all the equipment we're going to talk about, the price breakdown, and even some examples of what we think you could have for these 3 kind of price points that we're going to discuss that I broke down is like the $0 to $500 mark, the $500 to $5,000 mark, and then the $5,000 plus mark. And I kind of have a list of items that fall in each category, but then we'll also talk a little bit about how to combine those things together. And Chuck, you honestly were the inspiration to me for building out even the gym I have behind me, and you have an amazing home gym setup. So I figured we'll start with the 500 and less. And I wanted to hear some of the thoughts. I have my own obviously thoughts, but I'll kick it to you, Chuck, because you were the inspiration to this on what do you think are some of the most essential pieces for that less than $500 mark and the things that you want to see around in someone's home gym.
Yeah, so what I essentially did, and I pieced this together from the beginning of the pandemic, was I was doing exactly just that. I wanted to get some equipment in my home. So I started initially with under that $500 mark. And my key essential was to get a set of resistance bands. So I went on, and my first initial set of resistance bands, I just bought a cheap set from Amazon, and it served the purpose before I built out my entire rack of resistance bands that I have. So I went on Amazon. I spent, I think, $60 on a set of resistance bands, various resistance bands from anywhere from 20-pound resistance all the way up to 100 pounds of resistance. And then I also got myself a couple bolting hooks to hook into the wall and some carabiners. So essentially I was using that. I, of course, got myself, to me personally, a kettlebell. Kettlebell serves a purpose for a lot of things that you can do. So I got myself my resistance bands and a kettlebell, and I was doing a lot of my workouts off of that. And I think ultimately my resistance bands and my kettlebell and my carabiners and everything that I got came out to about $350 for everything that I wanted. And that's essentially how I started building my home gym up, with just those basic equipment. I think I ordered my kettlebell from Onnit.com. I love Onnit. Onnit's got great products. And I ended up getting my resistance band from Amazon.
Yeah, and I think to your point, that's a great, and I love the versatility of those pieces of equipment, especially bands. Like you said, we can anchor them high, you can have low anchors, you can do different movements. There's so many adaptations, and that's actually a bonus feature I wanted to just kind of sneak to you guys, that if you do put your email in for the 8 weeks to shred preview, we're also going to be creating just an entire library and resource of videos that you'll see us kind of slowly leak out, but also a lot of it's going to live in our fitness and nutrition vault as well. So that's like a nice little plug for the fitness vault. However, if you guys want to see more of that, keep your eyes peeled, add your email, check on social media. We can add some really cool things. Like there's dozens and dozens of movements. So just starting with that and piggybacking on not only the bands, one of the things that I had that, depending on what you have and depending on the setup is a pull-up bar. Obviously, even what I think the bands with the pull-up bar really can kind of come in handy, because a lot of you might say, hey, Mike, I can't do a pull-up, or I can't do, 10 reps or whatever the number is in the volume, and maybe even be leading into other programs that we design. Is the resistance bands are a great option to be basically an assist to help you get full range of motion, to take some of that resistance off while still being able to progress and level yourself up there, as well as just to piggyback even on the kettlebells, and also an adjustable dumbbell. This is kind of maybe on the higher end, pushing that 500-hour limit. Like the adjustable dumbbells I have, I believe they were 370 or 375. And Bowflex was out for a while. I just happened to get them secondhand. So it was actually a little bit cheaper. That's like the retail price. But I think that could be a really versatile option that kind of falls just under the 500 points. So I'm kind of cheating with that. But another awesome one, as well as kettlebells.
I have a set of adjustable dumbbells as well, but I have the Bowflex ones, and Bowflex makes a couple different options. They make adjustable dumbbell that goes up to 52.5 pounds. And I think that's $600, $599. And they have another one that goes up to 90 pounds, which is great. But that one's like $900 for that. So, I mean, great. If you can afford the adjustable dumbbells, awesome. Go out and get yourself a nice pair of adjustable dumbbells. It's so versatile as to what you can do with it. If you can't, and that's why I said that price point of under 500, the resistance bands come in so well. You can throw a resistance band under your back and you can do push-ups with the resistance band. You don't need the adjustable dumbbells to do presses off the floor. You can do that with resistance bands. I went simply on Amazon. Let me show you real quick while I'm here. Just to do various exercises, got myself a pair of handles from Amazon, and I got myself a pair of ankle straps. Now I attach the resistance bands to the ankle straps, mounted to the wall, and I'm doing stuff with, like I can do with a commercial gym, leg extensions, leg curls. With the handle, I'm doing lateral raises, I'm doing front lateral raises, I'm doing cables off of the wall. I'm doing various exercises. So the resistance bands, again, if you're creative enough, you can come up with a ton of exercises for it. If you're not creative enough to come up, and that's not an insult, trainers are there for a reason. If you can't think of the exercises to do with the resistance bands, that's why Mike and I are here.
Bingo. And just to piggyback on that, there's that price point's another thing to keep in mind is what options we do have. So keeping that in mind and keeping the time frame we want to work all of this in with, we're going to go up to the 500 to 5,000 mark. This is like, to me, the fun, really kind of, the meat and potatoes range where we can really, once you've, started to make those adjustments, you made the time and now you want to level it up. This is where a lot of things are going to live. And to me, the first thing that jumps out, I'm biased on this, is the rack, whether it's your squat rack that's attachable to the wall, the adjustable ones, they can get kind of high end, but even the one that I got from Rogue, and obviously Chuck, you're the inspiration on this one again, the Monster. I forgot though, if honestly, I don't even know the difference between the Monster Light and the Monster. I know I have the Monster Light, and look at that beautiful coloring too. I think that's a great place to start and be able to build off of it for about like $600 to $800, depending on shipping. I think it depends on where you are. But able to put together. So I think a rack and a barbell is kind of the next thing to piggyback on there. What do you think, Chuck?
Yeah, so the reason I ended up choosing my Rogue rack is because of the height variance. PRX makes a great rack as well, but you need a 12-foot clearance because the PRX rack actually, when it mounts to the wall, it's got a hydraulic lift on it. So when you go, it pushes up and it needs a good height clearance on it. The Rogue rack actually folds in. So if you need more room, you take the pins out and you fold it in. The difference between the Monster Light and the Monster is the Monster doesn't fold in. The Monster is actually, it's got the 4 beams to it. So it's an actual rack. The Monster Light is the one that folds in. So if you need a little bit more room, it'll fold in. And now that price point for that Monster Light rack, again, it's $500. And then you can customize it. Like I ended up getting the red one. You can get various colors. The colors may take a little bit more lead time on there. But the foldable in gives you more room for space. Again, if you park your car in the garage, pull your car out to the driveway, unfold your rack, get some work in your garage. When you got to fold it in, fold it in.
And I think also that's where like being able to, like you said, have the maximal use of your space. If you have a garage that you also want to function as a garage, that also maybe even like I have a workstation set up in my garage as well for like the plates that we make and all these other fun things, or being able to use it as a car or storage, or have my office, or even recording the podcast here. Being able to have that versatility is another, I think, key word that will commonly come up. And piggybacking on what you said with the rack and being able to use options with that, I think another piece is, and this is being able to fully use it, adding the adjustable dumbbells. I think this might be a category where they fit maybe a little bit more appropriately, because when you're starting to add those things, maybe that's where you want to invest more. And then adding barbell and plates and having your sets there, but also being able to look to, I thought I was tempted to put this on the 0 to 500 because the Rogue, I forget what the exact name is, but the reverse hyper, like Scout, I think is what it's called. It's like $350.
Yeah.
You know, that is supposed to be foldable. You can put it off to the side. That one's actually, I wanted to buy it. They just don't have it available. But I guess we categorize it in this one. I think that's another great option that's not as commonly talked about in a home gym setting, but I think there's so much value and versatility to it that we could add in this category.
Yeah, there's a ton of versatility you could do with that. But again, you know, to build up your basic home gym, I don't think it's necessarily needed right away. You know, build it up as time goes by. You know, talking about the range that we're in right now, we talked about the rack. Get yourself a good barbell. You want to get yourself a good pair of adjustable dumbbells. And I think the adjustable dumbbells are the way to go, especially if you don't have a lot of space. And then ultimately, you're looking for free weights. Now, I know, Mike, you're making free weights locally in the Asheville area. But if you can't get those shipped out, the resource that I used for my free weights, I went on Facebook Marketplace. And I was looking on Facebook Marketplace and I was searching around for the best possible price I can get my hands on. Now, a lot of people, because of the pandemic and because of the shortage, everybody was building home gyms. Everybody was gobbling up all the weights. The price point went up significantly. So right now, if you're in the range of about $2.50 a pound to $3 a pound, you're in good standing. I think initially when I ended up buying mine, I was at $1.50 a pound, and that was a steal. And I ended up getting about 750 pounds in free weights. So it was, to me, it was a great price point. And then later on, as I tried to add more free weights, because I like to lift heavy things, 750 pounds wasn't enough for me. I went out to try to find it, and I was looking around the $2.50 to $3 mark range. And I think that's just commonly where it's at right now.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, like exactly. And that's something even I used we do have our concrete plates that we're making, especially like you said, here in the Asheville local like area. But one thing I wanted to do is have, in addition to that, have our bumper plates that we added on. And I was able to, like, I kind of came in even after you did, Chuck. So that's where I started seeing the price points closer to like $2.50, $3. And what you might be able to find on Facebook Marketplace, and this is something we do as well, we offer up the ability, we buy bumper plates from the wholesalers that produce them for Rogue and all these other organizations, and then we try and pass along that savings to you guys because we're buying them in like 1,000 pounds at a time, so we get a discount on that. But you might be able to find on Facebook Marketplace locally to you similar, where they basically just sell the defects, where Rogue can't actually sell them on their website because there's a scratch or there's a misprint or something's wrong, but structurally they still work. So finding those opportunities are great. Or unfortunately, hopefully no gyms are going out of business at this point, but unfortunately the reality of it is, with the given climate, gyms might be able to have some sales. They might be liquidating things. That might be an opportunity. And the one thing I wanted to add in there too, that I know you're a big fan of, Chuck, is landmine attachments and options and variables there with the accessories, whether it's different grips. Like I got a fat grip, 2-inch parallel grip for the landmine attachment. I have my landmine attachment that's coming in from Rogue. I unfortunately ordered the Monster one and not the Monster Light, so I had to refund it. And they actually caught it. I didn't even realize it, so shout out to Rogue. They're like, hey, by the way, you ordered Monster Light for all this stuff, but the one thing you ordered was Monster for the landmine attachment. Do you want us to refund that and get you the right one? I'm like, yes, I do, actually. You guys rock at Rogue, so I wanted to just give them kind of credit for that. But talk to me about landmine and versatility there, Chuck. That's another one that makes its appearance in your programming as well.
Yeah, so I'll tell you today, week 7 and 8, today was primarily landmine movements. So we had a lot of landmine movements in today's workout. I love them. I mean, personally, there's so much versatility you can do from just landmine, from core strength, to strength training, everything. So today involved, and I'll give you a little insight. Today involved a little bit of HIIT workout, so supersetting landmine work and supersetting some body movements right after the landmine movement. I love it. I bought my landmine and I had to kind of modify it to my rack as well. play around with your modifications. Some people, again, my landmine attachment attaches to my rack. You don't necessarily need that. They do make landmine pins that you could put into weights and you can use them off of your weights. Some people like the landmine attachment that will wedge into your corner. Note to everybody here, it does damage your wall a little bit. So be mindful of that. But they do make landmine attachments that'll wedge into your wall as well. I prefer the one that attaches to the rack. I think you can get a lot more versatility from the one that attaches to the rack.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. And I'm with you on that. Like, I love the rack attachment. And even like, I haven't used it in the corner because I didn't want to jack up the walls. And like, not that it's the end of the world, especially giving the space. If you don't mind that, it's fine. But it's also just, I think that's an important point to be mindful of. And I wanted to kind of like bring in something I technically had on the 0 to 500 list, but I think it's actually better fitted here, of having a bench. Like, cause like you said, you don't need a bench, and you don't even, like with the adjustable dumbbells, you don't need all those things. You can use the floor, you can use those carabiners and the hooks and the angles. But now once we're starting to get to, you have a squat rack, we're in this range, this is probably where a bench is going to be better suited to come in. And in my opinion, don't slack when it comes to a bench. You could find $100 and change bench, or like $100 one that's kind of flimsy and whatnot. But I think invest in it to make it last for long. It's not to find, you can't find a good one for $100 and change, but for the most part, where I was seeing on Amazon, they were a little flimsy. So I went with an inclined and declined variations, just a little bit more.
Yeah. So be mindful when you're looking at those benches that are on Amazon. I know some of them seem very tempting, $100 to $199 range, but be mindful that those aren't meant to structurally carry a lot of weight. They're meant to just take your body weight and about 100 pounds more. So if you're doing bench presses within your rack, that thing could very well crumble when you're, benching 200 pounds plus your body weight. You want to be mindful. So what I did is exactly what you did, Mike. I went on strengthwarehouse.com. I got myself an adjustable York commercial bench. It was $499. So I did invest a little bit in the bench, but I wanted to make sure that it was going to be able to support me and support the weight that I was working with. Worst thing is to, chintz on the bench and then get injured while you're working out. We don't want that. So make sure you're looking at the weight capacity of the bench. So look at the specifics in the bench. Make sure you go down, if you're shopping on Amazon, go all the way down to the specifications for the bench, and it'll tell you the weight capacity for the bench. If it's anything less than 350 pounds, I wouldn't touch it.
I think that's actually a great point that I just added to my notes. We're going to add that downloadable resource for you guys, along with the height clearance for different options with your squat racks to just be mindful of and to just keep your space. There's some really, actually, one thing I appreciate, and that Chuck, you probably can speak this too, is like in a lot of the certifications that we get in different variations, they talk, part of the certifications, especially what I noticed with the CSCS for the NSCA, is they have a section in our textbooks that specifically talk about if you're going to lay out like a lifting platform or like lay out an entire strength and conditioning room, and there's actual like certain distances you want to keep. Like I believe it's 28 inches between the platform and another piece of equipment, or 42 inches for another one, depending on that. So again, I'm not saying it has to be to those standards, but there's some really cool, actually free resources that I'll put in that downloadable resource that you can like map out the whole thing, or just downloadable programs if you want to get that into it, or like some companies will do that for you. So that's just something I wanted to add in there. And then in the interest of time, we're going to kind of piggyback, because I have a whole bunch more. Like I wanted to go into the Assault bike and Rogue Echo bike, or Pelotons and ellipticals and treadmills. And we can dive into that a little bit here. Even I kind of I'm on the fence about how we categorize, because technically the price point for these are between 500 and 5,000. But when you're building out that gym, you might have already kind of hit your mark with building a squat rack, having your plates, getting the barbell, having all of these kind of the adjustable dumbbell, the good bench, having these attachments. Now we might start looking in the 5,000 plus when we start adding in all these accessories, the aerobic work. And the two things that really jumped out to me is, Chuck, you could probably speak to the sauna part most first, but then also looking at like maybe a powerlifting platform. You want to dig in a little bit more for that. But I thought the sauna was a pretty awesome move to add to the home gym.
Yeah. So, I mean, with the pandemic and everything, even you go into a gym right now, they haven't regulated saunas to be open. So if you're going into a gym, you want to get some sauna work in, some sauna sessions, they're closed. So we ended up buying our sauna, and I put it in the home gym. I'll give everybody a little preview of the sauna. Here's the sauna right here, over in the corner. It's a sunlight and sauna. So my wife, I give my wife credit for this one. She is the one who did the research on this one. And Sunlighten is the only sauna that has an infrared with the 3 waves. So it's got the near, the mid, and the far infrared waves. A lot of other ones only have the mid and the far. So this one has the tri-band on it. So we ended up investing $6,000 in the sauna. It's a 2-person sauna. Some of them are a little bit less. If you want a 1-person sauna, I think it's on the $4,500 mark. And then we had to get an electrician to come over and wire it and everything. And it's just a plug. It's a simple plug. There's the plug down here. It's a dedicated line. It's a dedicated 220 line. So if anybody's interested in Sunlighten, we'll definitely put the links in the notes as well for Sunlighten saunas. It's one of the better ones out there. But when it comes to some of the various equipment that Mike, you were talking about, yes, in the $500 to $5,000 mark, I highly recommend the rack. Invest yourself into a good bench, get your free weights, get an adjustable pair of dumbbells. I've got medicine balls, I've got kettlebells, I've got the attachments for dips, I've got maces, I've got resistance bands, you name it. I put it in here, but I went a little crazy with my gym, knowing that I really didn't feel comfortable going back into a commercial gym. And that's why we invested in the sauna. My wife also invested in a spin bike. So she was looking at the Peloton versus the spin bike. She got sold on the spin bike versus the Peloton because of the drive system. So the Peloton, I believe, is a chain, where the spin bike is a belt system, which is a little bit cleaner of a system versus the Peloton. So she went with the spin bike. So on the cardio side, I'm kind of jealous over Mike, because you got that Rogue Echo bike. I don't have the room and the space out here for the Echo bike, being the fact that my wife got the spin bike and she put that in our basement. But I highly recommend either the Echo bike or the Assault bike. That's great for cardio work.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that point, the belt-driven system that Rogue Echo bike has, from my experiences, I do appreciate that more. Versus and I've even watched another great thing that we'll add in our resources. Garage Gym Reviews is a great website and a YouTube platform that offers out free resources. I did a lot of research for all of this, even for this episode, and even for Chuck and I discussing prior to this. And they were one of the kind of resources I constantly turn to and use. And this guy Coop that runs the channel talks about belt versus chain, and how he's just not a big fan of chain because the ability for it to break or fall off, or all these different variations. So I thought that was a really good point. And from my experience with the Rogue Echo bike, the belt system's been awesome. And I think that's, again, just, hey, you don't need aerobic equipment to get aerobic work in. That's even what you've seen incorporated in the 8 weeks to shred, is using your body weight, using resistance bands, using different variations from body weighted movements, or maybe martial arts applied movements that could really get your heart rate up with the HIIT style training as well. So I think there's a lot of options there. So we have again, we could go on and on for days probably about all of this. So I'm going to just keep referring you guys to the downloadable resource that we're going to have. You can check out the description below with links. Probably going to cap it here, Chuck. I'm going to turn it to you though before I say we finish it, because I'm curious if there's anything you wanted to add that we might have missed, because I know we could keep talking about this for hours.
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion to anybody who's looking to start a home gym is, again, to start small and piece and build it up as you go on. If you've got the resources to go ahead and dump 10 grand into a home gym, great. And if you need help, that's what Mike and I are here for. We can certainly guide you as to what you should do. If you need help with it, where you should start, what resources you need to go into. But my suggestion is, obviously, if you have a significant other, speak to your significant other before investing in the home gym. Make sure you guys are both on the same page. And that was one lesson that I learned with my wife. I went in and I told her I was going to do it. And she agreed and she let me do it. She's like, you didn't even ask me if I wanted anything in the gym. And I was like, well, what do you want? I've been building gyms since I was 16 years old. I built a pretty good gym. She's like,
I got all the good stuff.
I got all the good stuff. She's like, you didn't even ask me if I wanted a TRX strap. So you can see the TRX strap back here. It's, again, body weight movement. So I ended up hanging a bolt from the ceiling and put it into the joist and into the header, and got the TRX strap. And honestly, she hasn't used it once.
It's not the point, Chuck.
I know. It's not the point. But, again, speak with each other. Again, if you have a significant other, find out what, your significant other wants in the gym. If you're the one driving it, then again, if both of you are sitting down, agree upon everything and start small and build it up from there. Again, we're here. If you guys need the resource, if you need the help, reach out to either Mike or I, and we'll certainly help you and guide you along the way.
Whoop, whoop. And I appreciate you, Chuck, for just the inspiration to like this project, the impact it's had. Like, it's honestly like, I really wanted to express this to everybody listening to, because you guys are a big reason we're able to do this, is like the gratitude that I have to basically, this is like my dream situation. I have a home, I have the freedom, the 2-car garage to be able to build out this like awesome home gym, the studio that we get to make content for you guys, and everything I get to do is home because of you guys. So I really wanted to just share that appreciation since it's Thanksgiving and whatnot, the Thanksgiving weekend. Unfortunately, by the time you guys are seeing this, you might have missed out on our sales and deals that we had going on because they finished on December 1st. But I want to remind you guys, we still have our 28-day nutritional reset, and you guys are watching this at a time you can probably still take advantage of our founding members price point. So you'll still get a better price point because it's going to go up as time goes by, as well as when Chuck is, we're fully testing. And that's why I love Chuck. I'm very appreciative to you coming on board. You guys might have noticed how we've leveled up even with how things are being presented, because Chuck's the man when it comes to operations and making things really clean and how they can be presented. So I appreciate the organizational skills you bring to the table, Chuck, and the 8 weeks to shred program you guys can check out below in the links.
All right, guys. Appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate everybody out there listening and supporting the community Life of Fighter. Guys, stay healthy, stay safe. One thing to touch on real quick, and I understand the joy of going to the gym and the camaraderie of seeing everybody, but to be able to work out in your home and building a gym, and just to be able to come home after work, or again, if you're working from home, just to be able to get a space where you can go to and just get a workout in. And when you're done, go in the house and you're done, you're there, take a quick shower, eat, chill out. And again, the camaraderie of a gym, I get it. Everybody, I'm constantly a force at the gym. Everybody would constantly come over. As soon as I walk into the gym, I'm getting badgered by a million people. I love it. I get it. I understand it. But it's okay to have people come over and work out with you. I mean, if you feel safe, if that person is safe, if you know they're not, anywhere exposed to any COVID or anything, have a buddy come over and work out with you and just get that camaraderie. I mean, sometimes I'll Zoom Mike, I'll FaceTime Mike. I'll be lifting in the gym and I got Mike on a Zoom. So just, you want to get that camaraderie, you can get that camaraderie through a FaceTime or a Zoom too.
And I think that just makes me think, I want to piggyback on what you said, Chuck, because I think it's such a brilliant point that you mentioned, is the impact, honestly, that I think sometimes you can take for granted, that I even take for granted, the influence that we have. Like, I have a 2-year-old Lena, and I have going on 9-month-old now, Tessa, and they come in the gym with me. Like, obviously Tessa's not working out, but she's starting to like grab for toys and like grab for the dumbbells. Lena knows how to pick up and deadlift, and she does pull-ups, and she'll jump on the Rogue Echo bike. Even though she's not big enough for it, she'll stand on it and do the pedals. So like being able to ingrain that and have that example. And like, even my wife, she's always been into working out since having kids, being able to have the home gym. She's getting in the squat rack and able to do things where she wouldn't have normally went to the gym, just because having kids and having young kids is crazy. So I'm sure, I just wanted to highlight that to you guys to remind yourself like the impact that you have in your own family and the people around you. Like, so that's the last piece that I'll leave it on. And yeah, y'all.
Yeah, funny story real quick. So my kids come in the gym all the time, and when they're doing their gym Zooms, because they're still remote, they'll come in the gym and they'll do their gym classes in my gym. And my daughter's gym teacher all the time is like, how does your dad have this beautiful gym in your home? Is he like a trainer or something? And my daughter's like, yeah. Let's not get into it. But yeah, he's
like, Dad, stay out of
it. Stay out of it, gym coach. To get your family integrated in. My son comes in. I'll be working out in here, and my son will just pop in here. He's turning 12 today, so happy birthday, Carmelo.
Happy birthday, Melo.
Hey, Melo. He'll come in here. I'll be working out. And he'll be like, Dad, do you mind if I get a couple sets of pull-ups? I'm like, go for it, buddy. I work out with my wife all the time. She's my gym buddy. But to have your family come in and integrate it and get there. And I know Lena, Mike, is totally out deadlifting you. I know she is. You can be honest.
Embarrassingly, she is, man. She was pulling 30 pounds the other day, and she weighs 30 pounds. So I'm like, wow, man, you're doing pretty good. But she can't out-pull. No, she doesn't have the pull-ups on me yet, so I still got that on her.
We got that. All right.
But yeah, I appreciate those stories. I appreciate you guys. Chuck, you're the man. And again, thanks for the awesome resources from Chuck with this 8 weeks to shred. You guys can check that below, and we'll check you on the next episode.
Stay awesome, everybody.